Hey, I'm Dukes on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a Naya Depths list. This is what I'm currently running in paper, or very similar. And from here, I want to get some extra testing in for an event locally in a few weeks. This list is, fairly similar to what I play online, but this time around, playing a Teeg in the main deck. I wanted to have something in the main deck to answer combo. I was thinking of Ouphe, not having Teeg in the 75, but I feel like it's tough because both can just be vanilla 2/2s in a lot of matchups. If anything, Ouphe probably has the wider range, but I really like Teeg at the moment and just want to see how it goes, especially in game one of a few matchups. And I think Collector Ouphe is still a fine sideboard choice. Teeg does, of course, have some nobos in the deck. You can't cast Minsk and Boo with Teeg out. You can't cast Green Suns. But I feel like in the matches where you want Teeg on the board anyway, you're probably going to be in a better position by turning off more of your opponent's spells than your own. So I went with Teeg just because, look, it's tough because, let's be honest, Mox Diamond here and Collector Ouphe, or Teeg for Green Suns and Minsk. So technically, Teeg does stop more. It's harder to cast. The reason I'm looking at this as well is that there have been a few lists in challenges doing well that do run a main deck hate bear like Collector Ouphe. So you know what? Let's change it up. Let's try it out and see how it goes. I'm also just a big fan of full Mox Diamond because I feel like it is a card you want in your opening hand. So you want to maximize that. And I feel like if you get it in your opening hand, then you have a higher potential to get Sylvan Library in play, which means you can then filter out other Mox Diamonds that you don't want to draw. So I do feel like part of the unfair part of this deck, broken if you must, is cheating on mana. So that's where I do like the Mox Diamond. Does City of Solitude stop anything? I'm not sure what that card is. Enchantment players can cast spells and activate abilities only during their own turns. There's some little things. It obviously means your opponent can't counter your sorcery speed spells or spells cast during your turn. They can't do things like Terminus in your turn, which is kind of cool. Players can cast spells and activate abilities. Yes, there we go. It does mean you can't like Wasteland your opponent on their turn. You can't stage. You can't crop. So that's it. I will have humans content on here as well, dog. So I do want to get back to humans content. I guess they can't Wasteland us during their turn. That's true, which is relevant if you do want to kind of make the 20/20 and then throw it in the same turn. That kind of gives you something there. No prismatic ending, just because I wanted to find room for both the Ouphe and the Liberator. But I think if you wanted, you could easily do something like, and I do like prismatic, but most of the times that I've needed to prismatic ending something, it's either Ensnaring Bridge or Chalice, but it hasn't been too needed. But I think you could easily go like 2 prismatics, play the Collector Ouphe in the board, don't play the Teeg, and don't play the Liberator. I do like the flexibility of having an artifact enchantment piece, hate piece in the main deck, so that's where kind of one prismatic is taken out. And then, if you don't want to play a combo piece in the main deck or combo hate piece in the main deck, you could definitely play the second prismatic for sure and fit that in. Because honestly, I think there isn't too many matchups these days where prismatic is dead, especially hitting things like DRC or some sort of turn 1 threat. Really nice to get that away. The only reason that I don't like it is cards like the 6/5 troll, or the 7/6 troll. I think it's a 7/6. Yeah, 3 turns. But yeah, look, we'll see how this goes, and hopefully it does all right. I also tested things out, like over the Wooded Foothills. I was playing an Urza's Saga, which you could also say is over the 3rd Dark Depths, and then playing a Shadow Spear as just a target. I think Shadow Spear is actually pretty sweet. It allows you to fight Delver in a different way, in that you kind of make a lot of their attacks redundant, which is great, especially on a massive knight. Giving Trample is fantastic, especially when they're getting with a big Murktide and they're just playing their DRCs to just chump block. And then things like the activated ability, of course, is pretty sweet at dealing with things like Cauldra, which also, to some extent, Prismatic Ending does, because they can Flicker Wisp it. Yeah, even making opposing Marit Lages non-indestructible is pretty cool. But yeah, I kind of wanted to go with like just consistency, like so, like for all 4 ofs here, 4 ofs in the 2 and 2 split of Library and Minsk, and then just having like key hate bears, with probably Liberator and Ouphe being the least. I've seen people like cut the extra crop. Like obviously 3 Mox is kind of standard in Naya, and then the sideboard is just generally for combo with a few cheap removal spells for some of the decks, like Blue Black Scam and Rug Delver or Grixis Delver. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Yeah, I'm a big fan of 4 ofs. I think it's also tough because I think the pro gamers out there will definitely find room for 1 ofs and cut to 3 ofs to find room to really maximize Green Suns and the lands package. Like this is one of the first times that I haven't played Tower of the Magistrate in the sideboard, but it's just because it's a great card. We just haven't really been running into Tower of the Magistrate matchups online, so kind of cut it for the extra Mindbreak trap to make sure we have some sort of play against combo, which is something I always talk about as well. I don't like playing Mindbreak trap. I kind of like just saying, hey, if you got a turn 0 or turn 1 win, you got me. But when you're playing online in leagues where there's a lot of combo, you kind of got to respect it just to be able to get some sort of decent result after the league. So I'm a big fan of Deafening Silence. I think that's a really flexible card, but traps are, yeah, kind of a there's a saying that I'm thinking of, but I cannot put my finger on it, but someone in chat will correct me shortly. We're playing a Legacy League with play points with Naya Depths with Teeg, but obviously not playing Teeg. Necessary Evil, yes, there we go. 10 points to Dog. Love it. It's a Necessary Evil. Also a pretty expensive one in paper. I think Mindbreak Trap's up to like 50 or 60 bucks. Which, if I was gonna put out a list for people to look into, I probably wouldn't have them unless you really knew your local meta and wanted that sort of play around combo. All right. Okay. Interesting hand. We have a Moxen, but the mana is actually pretty terrible because we only have a Moxen for either green or white, not both. Bog kind of makes this a 6 as well. And honestly, I think there is just a better 6 here. I think either like a Green Sun's hand with some sort of removal as well. It's just a little bit too tricky, especially with the lands we have. Safekeeper isn't really a card I want in my opening until probably mid-game, so we'll see how that goes. Hey, Lucky, very cool to have you on the channel the other day. Really enjoyed playing some Goblins. So we'll mulligan this. Look, this is a lot better, and the key benefit here is that we mulliganed. We get to put a card like Sejiri Steppe back into the deck, and we get to recover from our mulligan on as early as turn 2 thanks to Sylvan Library. And hey, Team Rocket, thanks for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Not too sure what we're up against. Saga, okay. Tom? Okay, cool. I like Tom. Just a Saga Pass. That makes me think either they have Ancient Tomb, or they have some sort of Mox Opal hand and don't want to just play it out. Karakas. Okay. So here I think we want to play the Savannah. We then want to play the Mox and probably pitch... If they're a Saga deck, I'm going to put them in 8 cast, so I think the Karakas is going to be really good. And the Mox Diamond kind of does what Yavimaya does anyway. And then we can hold the fetch, just in case on top of the library are just 3 more lands. Maybe one's Wasteland, we take that. But then I guess if we want to take the Wasteland, we can't fetch in the same turn. There is also a world where you could go... No, you can't put Windswept into play with the Yavimaya, because then you could tap this for mana, but then fetch and upkeep. That'd be pretty cool. Let's go for Sav, and then Mox, and let's pitch the Yav. And then even see if the library resolves. Okay. So unfortunately, because they played the turn 1 Saga, I think there's probably no chance they're not getting a construct during the next turn cycle. Which means that Wasteland does something, but not everything. Also, probably a matchup where we wanted that Collector Ouphe in the deck for game 1, and thankfully we do. Working on a Porphyro's commander deck? Nice. And there's the tomb. Okay. So pretty nice stuff from them, but nothing else, which is interesting. There's the Wasteland we talked about as well. Look at that. Pretty perfect. And a Green Suns? Wow, so we can Wasteland and then also... Okay, so this is an interesting point. We can play the Wasteland, take out the Saga, or take out the Ancient Tomb, but then we can Green Suns for Collector Ouphe, which does turn off our 2 Mox Opals. Sorry, Mox Diamonds, but I think is very detrimental for our opponent. So I think here we actually just pay Wasteland, Wasteland the Tomb. Happy for them to be able to search with the Saga. Play a Mox. Probably pitch the Windswept here. And then Green Suns for 2. Wow, it just goes through. Bang. Which it's really nice to see this kind of play out in game 1 of match 1. Yeah, I think they get probably Needle as well, most likely naming Wasteland. The land in my graveyard is Yavimaya, and then Wasteland and Windswept Heath. It's actually quite small, isn't it? Oh, you can't make this bigger? That's crazy. Oh, they don't have a land either. The name's Stage. Okay. That's fine. They have a... Oh, they're mono black. Ah, okay. Oh, they have the Thoughtseize for the swords as well. That's pretty good. Okay. Second library is actually obviously not great. A 3/3, sorry, a 5/5 knight is pretty good. Put on top, and then probably just put the Green Suns on top. We could also Green Suns for the knight and get a shuffle as well. That's pretty interesting. No, because of course our Moxen are turned off. So I think here we actually just Green Suns for a Elvish Reclaimer, as it's at least a 3/4. I think that's the way. Yeah. Honestly, I'm happy to attack here. I probably should have attacked first and then seen what my opponent did, but I don't think that blocked because they said we have us on a clock. But I also need to get a clock on board. Of course, I always forget this can't block. It can only, I always remember it can't be blocked, but I don't remember that it can, or that it can't block. There we go. I did play Red White Initiative with Sahar during the last Green Suns Summit, but it's a good deck. It's a very good deck, especially with I feel like the subtle part of 4th Aerolingus is that it allows Mox to tap for both red and white, which is pretty huge. I believe this is going to be like a mono black Beseech kind of deck. Vault of Whisper's also their creature, which is interesting. Ooh. Oh, they can, wow, they can Swords our Collector Ouphe here. That's pretty sweet. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, oh, interesting. They're going to get aggressive. That's really interesting. So they're saying, hey, we can just beat you down. Ritual? Ritual? Sheoldred? No, surely, because then we have the Karakas anyway. This has to be Beseech. What's it going to be? Oh, get it back with Awakening? Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, so this is definitely a situation where we don't want either of these. We'll play the fetch. We will attack. I guess we could also fetch for, if they play nothing, we could fetch for Dryad Arbor and then double block the construct. I actually don't mind that. I think I'm in a position where I want to get these Mox Diamonds on board. Maybe Minsk and Boo is our way out of this kind of clock. Thanks, Mr. Lee. Opponent only has one card. What's the name of the card that prevents players from sacrificing paying life to activate abilities? Sagada? Khan Sinclex. Alright. Down to 6. Okay, nice. The question is, do I want to go to 2? Is there any reason not to go to 2? We have Sheoldred covered by the Karakas. So I think I'm actually happy here just to be a little bit greedy. Pay. Swords this right now. They have one card left, so it can't even be like a flash creature like Opposition Agent, thankfully. Alright. There is also a 2-mana creature, a green creature with Sagada's ability, which is kind of cool. Obviously not as impactful, but Yushan is also a 1, and of course Mr. Lee gets there with it. Love to see it. Ah, yes, Bowmaster's a good one. That's very true. Put these on top because we can just sacrifice the flagstones anyway. And I think we'll probably just be getting a Wasteland to take them off that vault. Because the last thing I want is them having an Orcish Bowmaster. Saga's pretty good. That's probably also a good target here. I think I also should have responded to the ability to fetch. Because now if they have a opposition agent, it's even worse. Don't you do it. Okay. Ooh. Get a Savannah. And then get Wasteland. Yeah. Ooh, there's Minsk. Okay. Both of these are turned off thanks to the needle. So I'm just going to hit this now and see if there's any sort of response. No. All right, let's get the beat down. Surely not lucky. I think the most tilting part of Opposition Agent is when your opponent has it playing Goblins. That is always a tough one. This is the 2-turn clock. They go to 10, they go to 3, and then Minsk. I guess they can Minsk can either throw it or not. Nice. That was a pretty interesting game. I think that Collector Ouphe bought time in the early game. Opponent pretty unlucky as well to draw Vault of Whispers instead of, say, another Swamp or something else, but this will be an interesting matchup. I do like the forces and I don't mind the paths. Like Teeg's always interesting as well. I think Teeg is probably better than Ouphe, but it's like Ouphe still does stuff, which is good. I would assume they're playing things like Sheoldred's Edict, so potentially Safekeeper isn't great. I don't think they use their graveyard either, so I think that Bog can come out. I do like the Mox Diamonds. Any sort of way to get to library early on is good. Deafening Silence, typically good against Dark Ritual decks, but these sort of decks usually go Deafening Silence into Creature, which doesn't really stop any of that. I think Endurance as well isn't great. It is a flash creature, but that's about it. I can probably come down on the crops as well. I think like 2 crops is more than fine. Sejiri Steppe is nice, but not the most relevant. But I also just like making land drops. This is actually the change that I probably like. I think with Mono Black becoming more and more of a staple, I should know more about it. This kind of seems like a trap hand. I mean, Force answers both sort of openings, but yeah, this is a little bit too reactive for me. I'd rather have a plan. Like, what am I doing turn 1? Well, I'm playing a land in passing. Okay, that isn't good enough. So this is much better. We have 2 turn 2 knights, so pretty happy to keep this. Probably just bottoming 1 fetch here, but my only thought is obviously Opposition Agent, but yeah, I think the knights as 3/3s are fine. At worst, we could also pitch the Windswept to Mox. This sort of start just has to be turn 1 Dark Rit into creature at some stage. And fortunately enough, we drew the swords, which is nice. So even if they do have, say, Opposition Agent, we do have a way to combat it. I like to think we just time walked our opponent, but you never know. I think the one thing I'm learning a lot about Orcish Bowmaster and even Opposition Agent in this meta is how good they are at sorcery speed. Sometimes I think Flash can tunnel vision you into just thinking, oh, I'm going to get my opponent. But sometimes it's better just to play it out. And if they have removal, but if they don't, then at least you're not stuck in this weird situation where they have a fetch, but you held up all your mana for the turn, so you kind of want to do something with it and play opposition end step, and then they just fetch in response. And same with Bowmaster. Trying to wait for the brainstorm sometimes is just incorrect, and I feel like I've been pulled into that, trying to get like the money shot rather than just playing it out, especially when they're tapped out. Honestly, there's even a world where you drop the Savannah, keep the Yavimaya, and then next turn you play the Yavimaya and you just tap the Windswept Heath for mana instead of having to sacrifice it. Vault is okay. I think if they played a Voidwalker, I'd swords it. Obviously something like Thoughtseize is a little bit rough. If they cast a ritual here, now I'm happy to fetch. And I think here we're just going to get a Plateau. Okay. I wonder if they get Khan. Khan would be pretty strong, turning off the Mox Diamond. Yeah, okay. I would love to draw a creature here. Okay, that's not a creature. There's also a world, I played the Mox Diamond out because I wanted the swords open with the fetch. But there's a world where you don't even have to play the Mox, to be fair. I assume here we start seeing liquid metal coating. It is 2 mana, but see how that goes. Chalice, okay. Chrome Mox. Okay, Chalice for 1 turns off the swords. They do lose a card to the Chrome Mox though. Okay. Sure. I mean, Force of Vigor is now a good draw. Oh, that's a great draw. Bang. They have 3 cards left with Khan. Hey, Past, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Edict's good, but we do get to follow up here with another Knight, or potentially Minsk. Land? No. That's turned off by the Chalice, put that over there. Let's go and put Knight into play. Okay, so you can throw a Knight as well, which is kind of cool. It's like if they tick up Knight Khan here to try to save it. Yeah. Ooh. I think he would just make the 4/4 and then swing both at Khan. Just gonna think for a second. Yeah. They got something. Okay, that's not... If they're just gonna chump block here, that's more than fine. This is a great position because if they want to use the Khan, they have to sacrifice it. Ensnaring Bridge doesn't do a whole lot because we have Minsk just to throw. Play the bridge. Huh. Ooh, crop. Ooh, Chalice. I was thinking we could throw. They have 2 cards in hand. Is there any way for them to draw cards? I think we're just ticking up on the boo. Actually, I think we're drawing cards here, to be honest, while they're tapped out. Like, if they can't ritual, thankfully, off the Chalice, they can't, like, ritual into something. Draw 4 does seem good. Doesn't happen often. I think Force of Vigor would be great. We don't hit it, that's fine. But we do get Green Suns for Outland Liberator here. You can also play the Depths. Yeah, play Depths. And then we get to tap like this to Green Suns for Outland Liberator. Yeah, the really nice thing about Minsc here is that it also gives us a free token to play around Sheoldred's Edict, making you sacrifice a creature token. They pay, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Throwing a Lage is definitely on the bingo card. Helm. They have 1 card in hand. Sack Savannah. Get stage. Copy Depths. Nice. I think they saw the writing on the wall. Pretty tough start for them. Especially for the hand to have no turn 1 play. I think a little bit like Stompy, it's a lot better for us if they don't have a turn 1 play. Even, I think, at least in my opinion, I think the only turn 1 play that you can have where you don't do anything is turn 1 Saga Pass and then have Tomb the following turn. Alright. We have the Dryad Arbor in hand. We have 2 lands with the Mox. So we could still do something like Green Suns for Elvish Reclaimer turn 1. But then we're a little bit stuck. Like then we're just, if we don't draw a land, we potentially hold up Endurance. If we draw a land, we can hold up Reclaimer and Swords. This is probably a hand where it's just a little bit too light on lands for me to be happy to keep this. So I'm happy to mulligan it. Look, this is a turn 4 win. Turn 1 stage, turn 2 depths, turn 3... Oh, turn 1 stage, turn 2... I guess turn 1 fetch into stage into Dark Depths and then fetch for Yavimaya. Which is a plan. It also just has all the mana we need for everything, so I could keep this and bottom the plains. A 5 would have to be very good. And I think a 5 would have to be probably 2 lands, Mox, and Sylvan Library as 4 of the cards, just to be able to get a turn 1 library. And then something else. Look, we'll see how it goes. We'll keep this and bottom the plains. We'll play the... I guess we could just play out Savannah. So if they have a Wasteland and they Wasteland the Savannah, don't really mind. It's 1 less Wasteland to care about. I don't mind that. I think playing Windswept Heath or playing Savannah give away the same sort of information. Interesting. I mean, I'm happy to play this game. Ooh, that's actually a great pickup. What if we go play Windswept, play Safekeeper? That means if this is a Delver deck, Brazen Borrower could potentially be off the table. Okay. Did they try to bolt? No. Interesting, no bolt. I think we're happy to throw away the Savannah if they do try to bolt. No shuffle. No shuffle, but no land is interesting. Huh. I'm not going to fetch here. Now I'm going to fetch. I'm not going to show red either. I'm just going to get Savannah, play Depths, and pass. And if, I guess I can also attack for 1 here. It has to be Stifle. So they're going to Brainstorm now. I should also play around Wasteland. That's something to note. So I think after this Brainstorm resolves, we'll just make the 2020, and then we do have a few ways to save it. Sneak? Is it Sneak? Thankfully, we do have put land into play. Oh no. Oh no. We could have held up crop rotation. Okay, that's not too bad. Oh, they're going to pay and try to find another red source and also... Yeah, probably... Okay, the Canada won. So close. To be fair, they do have 31 cards left. Wow. Wow. That's just bad luck. That's just bad luck. Surely. Surely in 18 cards. You go down to 1, you gain 7, go to 8. So I guess even a Traxxas doesn't save them. I guess a Traxxas saves them if they hold a Traxxas and block with it. But very lucky. Very happy to have these Deafening Silences. Obviously the Blasts. I do like Surgical in this matchup, just for the namesake in Show and Tell after you typically blast it. I do like the Forces. Ramunap, Endurance. Ouphe is fine, but I think Ouphe can come out. Bog can come out. Liberator's good. Safekeeper can probably come out. Crops for rotation is still good. I don't mind switching 2 swords with 2 paths. Really don't want them gaining life. Minsk and Boo is interesting as well. I don't mind Minsk from like a Blood Moon effect kind of out. Steppe can probably go down. 26 lands with 4 Moxes, fine. I do like Mox as well, because being able to play like Deafening Silence with Blast Up is really nice. Deafening Silence also means that your blasts are uncounterable, so if your opponent goes to play a Show and Tell, the blast is definitely going to resolve, which is pretty cool. Probably Library. The only reason that I like Library is that unless there's like there's a world where it's a case of if you're above 15, you might get another turn, but I think we can drop down on Library. Reclaimer's still nice. Inska's still sweet. Gaddock Teeg's interesting because it does keep Sneak off the table, and it also does stop Force to some extent, but I don't think it's good enough. Trap's also interesting, but I think Trap itself is a trap. Because there's hardly any, like, it's got to be like show and, like, maybe lowered its pedal, show and tell, and then something they cast off Omniscience. Or show and tell, Omniscience, Cunning Wish, and then, oh, sorry, pedal, show and tell, I guess show and tell Cunning Wish into something. The only reason that I like Sejiri Steppe is that it can give you the pass through if they do have a creature in play. But I could also see cutting that and just going down to like 1 sword, 2 path. Because we still have blasts and stuff to fight with. And I don't want to pull too far away from our own combo. No green mana, but also probably just 2 fair. I think even if we had like 2 fetches, probably wouldn't keep this. This does have Pyroblast, and it does kind of have a green source in crop rotation. But again, it's a little bit tricky. Honestly, I think this could manage. It's a little bit awkward with crop, but we also have Elvish Reclaimer to get there. I think if we kept this, I would bottom either the Knight or the Swords. I like the Knight a little bit better because it comes in off Show and Tell, and it also untaps and gets Karakas without being able to get countered. So I actually think I'd keep this and bottom the Swords. I think like a fetch land off the top would be fantastic, but we'll see how this plays out. They could also just be going for turn 1 Show and Tell, which is pretty good for us because we can just put in probably Knight. Interesting. Wow, they paid for that. We can just blast that. I guess if it becomes a copy of Grizzlebrain, they can just draw cards, which is kind of cool. Ooh, Deafening Silence. Honestly, here, I think we just want to try to crop this into a fetch land. And then it's a tough one, but I think we want to be able to Pyroblast and Reclaimer to then find white. So I think we just go for Taiga here. Because with 2 cards in hand, I'm not too scared of much else. Okay. All right, the board is clear. 3 cards for them. No fetch. That's great for us. Ooh, library's fantastic. Now, this is actually a really tough one. Is library better for us? Or is Wasteland on Tomb play Reclaimer? Also makes Reclaimer a 3/4, which is relevant against a lot of their removal. I think... So they don't have Show and Tell. Or they have Show and Tell but don't have a creature. It's tough, but I feel like the way we could potentially lose this game is Wasteland on Tomb, play Reclaimer, but then just don't really draw a second land. So just for this turn, I'm happy to put down the shields and say Library. Because honestly, if we Wasteland this turn, play Reclaimer, they play a land or don't play a land, and then they untap. If they play a Sneak, it's not too bad either, because we can take them off double red source if we find another Wasteland. We do. Okay. I didn't need to keep the Mox, but that's fine. I also could Green Suns for Dryad Arbor and sack that. I like holding the Mox in case we don't find one in the next cycle, but then we get to go straight up to 2 mana. No, because if I use the Green Suns, then I can't crop, of course. Yeah. Pretty weird game. Two cards in my opponent's hand. No land. Nice. Surgical on Volk, potentially? Or Surgical on Pedal? Still no land, which is hilarious. I think we will pay, though. The only issue is paying to 7 means we die to both Grizzlebrand and Atraxa. But honestly, we just have to dig, right? Yeah, so I think we put that on top. And then at their draw step, we have a stop. All right, so it's between Pedal and Volk. I'm going to go with Volk, just because we do have like Collector Ouphe potentially for Lotus Pedal. They have 3 cards in hand. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what a game. That is funny. That is funny. With no lands, like no lands in play. I would like to think, but you never know. Maybe they were just over it. That is... I've been dunked on by Sneak Attack a lot in my time, so to get one over them is always nice. I'm sure there are situations where it's very good, but that creature, the Driftwalker, it's just never been good against me. I've never seen it really pop off. There's never been a creature on top, and I feel like you would just want another cantrip potentially, but maybe it's the bee's knees. And opponents just get unlucky against me, but it's never been... Yeah, it's never been too effective. Here's my book. Yeah, it's very true. That's a good one, Eli. It's also being a 2/4 as well, means it doesn't die to Bolt, which is pretty big. Isn't really affected by like Orcish Bowmaster. So we have Mono Black and Sneak. Orcish Bowmaster, I would say, is still definitely around and out. This is a little bit rough because of these 2 lands in the opener. That it's just it really relies on this being a good crop rotation deck, but then it also can't be a crop rotation deck where Bog's good, so yeah. Okay, well, we have interaction. We have acceleration. We have 1 piece of the combo. I don't mind this. I'm probably just dropping stage. There's no green mana other than Mox, but I don't really want to go to a 5, but potentially there's a 5 there that would work pretty well. Something like, even like 3 lands, Green Sun, Sylvan Library, with one of those lands being Wasteland. Means you could turn 1 Green Suns for Dryad Arbor, turn 2 play Library and Wasteland opponent. Chrome Mox. Okay, probably happy to have this Mox Diamond in my opening hand. Oh, it might not even matter. And to be fair, this is probably a match. Spy. Yes. We'll have a quick look. I like to think I know what's different about these lists, but I typically don't. Pact Negations, Memory's Journey, I know is a card people look for. There's a Bridge, which is pretty normal. There's one Oracle. Dread Return. Alright. The traps are good. Honestly, nearly all of the board I'm happy to see. So we'll definitely bring in these. I don't think the paths are worth it. You can try to interrupt the combo. Either they play the creature that takes 1 to activate and they don't have the extra 1 and just play it to pass and then untap and go off. But I think the swords can come out. Karakas, like Minsk and Boo is a little bit too big. Ramunap Endurance is good. Collector Ouphe is good. Liberator, probably too slow, but they do bring in Leyline, so I don't mind having it for that. The libraries, the Safekeeper, of course. I do like the Green Suns because they're copies of Ouphe and Teeg. Traps are good. Deafening Silence. Blast. Blast effects aren't as good. Like, you get to hit maybe an Alchemeba. You potentially get to save a spell from Pact Negation, but otherwise there aren't too many blue things to worry about. Let's have a quick look. Reapsal spells. So I assume they bring in ley lines. Potentially Dismembers, seeing that we're on green. Yeah, like, I'm not going to counter the Oracle. Yeah, I'm pretty happy here just to not bring in the blasts. And then one more cut, probably a library. Could even cut a second library, but... Or even a... yeah. Is there a world where I want a creature? A sword effect, sorry. I don't think so. Like, I assume they're not playing, like, Zenith Swarm. I think this will be it. Okay. Pretty happy to play this. Like, Surgical and Mindbreak Trap. Gets around Leyline. We have mana. Opponent's gone to 5 cards. One spell. 3 spell. Sorry, 2 spell. See, this is the exact situation where having Swords of Plowshares would actually be quite good. I will fetch. I'm just going to get a Savannah here. I think just playing another fetch is fine. They're going to attack first. Well, I guess if they actually have a pact in hand... Or do they take out all the packs? One second. Do they have... Let me read Memory's Journey. Interesting. So they could flash back? Tough, just not enough. Because yeah, the line is just Memory's Journey, the one that we target, into the library, get 3 back, and then sack the 3 to Dread Return. And they would have only cast that one Memory's Journey. We kind of need them to Cabal. Yeah, I guess that's probably the winning line there, yeah. Unless, is it up to 3? Yeah, then what they do is put back Lotus Petal, Oracle on top. Yeah. Tough. Maybe, yeah, maybe just making them go for the Oracle line was better, because then we also draw out to Collector Ouphe to turn off the petals. It does play. I wouldn't say that's a Dredge deck. Dredge is quite different, but that deck usually plays 1 Bridge from Below, so that you can sacrifice an Amoeba to find some sort of removal spell potentially, or interaction, and then still have the zombie to sacrifice. Hey Pigeon, not too bad. Went down to Ouphe, got up against Show and Tell, got up against Mono Black. But yeah, I think the line definitely there was probably Surgical in response to target, and then over a few turns, they'll, I guess 3 turns we get. Ouphe's definitely a lot better with Oracle in the format. I believe without it, it was a very old school, like Dread Return back, Angel of Glory's Rise. Is that how it won? With like Labman and Lady of Scrolls? Modal lands as well were, yeah, huge. Oracle, very good. Especially against FedEx, yeah. But yeah, maybe mulliganing aggressively towards like Deafening Silence or Crop Rotation would have been better. And not just relying on them to go out with Trap. Because I assume they play a little bit slower post-board. Hey, Mangork. Oh, really? From like a design perspective? But yeah, definitely a tough one. Maybe even trying to get to like green suns for 2 on turn 2, and just having one piece of interaction on turn 1, so then you can just go and get Gaddock Teeg potentially. Kind of hope to play against Scam or Delver in one of these last two. It's always nice to play against them. Thanks, Freemium. All the best. Have a good week. Yes, Dread Return, Angel of Glory's Rise, Azami, Labman. Yeah, a lot cooler line. And potentially puts you in a pretty good spot anyway. Hey Mike, very cool to see you. Hope you're doing well, brother. But yeah, seeing Labman back in the format would be pretty cool. Such a unique card as well. You don't often see it come up. Maybe in, I don't know if it's like a CEDH combo card, or if Oracle is just the go-to that you don't need to Labman. But I miss those days. Or the old school, I feel like there was a Doomsday pile that had Labman and Divining Top. Pretty happy to keep this. Only one green source turn 1 currently, but we also have the combo going, which is nice. Thoracle and TDH, that's fair. Right, opponent's gone to 6 cards. Oh, they're not playing a land? Interesting. A fetch land here would be pretty cool. Knight. They didn't play a land. So my opponent actually missed due to their keyboard. So what I'm going to do is skip back. But I'm not too sure how to do... I guess we just gotta... We just don't do anything. All right. Now we start. Ancient Dan. Oh, hammer? That'd be kind of cool. I think we still cast the Mox, pitch the Plains, play the Karakas, and then play the Elvish Reclaimer. Okay. There's a Saga. That's fine. I wonder if they go Saga into Stoneforge Mystic. Foundry. Okay. Okay. Very cool. I think here we just want to crop off of Flagstones to go and get Wasteland and take them off the Saga. So if we go 1, 2, probably sack the Karakas just to keep the combo alive. Get Flagstones. And then crop away Flagstones. Savannah, and then Wasteland off the crop. Nice. Horizon Canopy. Mox isn't where we want to be. I think here we just attack. Go for Knight. The scary thing is that they can create a 1/1 here. Swords. Okay. Yeah, this basic art is very, very cool. Cranial plating. Okay. That is fine. Not too fast, which is good for us. Okay. It's pretty interesting. They're on 1 card. I could get... I could get Collector Ouphe. That does turn off our own Moxen. But then they're also racing in a tough spot. Collector Ouphe also doesn't turn off Hammer. We're definitely attacking. This is a tough one. The Green Suns would turn off the Ancient Den and the Foundry, leaving them with 2 mana. Or I could just play a big Knight and then try to go for Marit Lage. I think that's a little bit better. I mean, we also have the win on board if we draw into a land, because we get +3 from the Safekeeper by sacrificing our own lands. Kind of want to see them draw a card here. Nice. Hey FGC, welcome. Yeah, I think Night Squeeze is pretty solid as well. If they attack, we don't block. Yes, Pigeon. The last change we made was flipping Collector Ouphe and Gaddock Teeg. Okay, get the last one. Wasteland's pretty sweet. Honestly, here I think we just play. Sack. Depths. Keep. Just to play around Wasteland. And then... honestly, pretty happy just to pass here. We could get in for 3, but I kind of want to hold one back just in case they have like double hammer would be brutal. Or just like something a little bit crazy. Sentinel's fine. 1 card left. Pure Steel's fine. A little bit late for them. They can create... oh, they can't, can they? Yeah, they can create a flying token. Okay. But maybe, just maybe, we can get a land here? No. So they can use an opal, sack this, get a 1/1 flyer, and block with that. There's no way to get to 3 mana. I could Mox for a Dryad Arbor. Then we have 1 mana, sack 1, 2 mana. That's not enough to do anything. We definitely attack. Probably with just the Merit. And then we Green Suns for 0. And pay the 1 of the Esper Sentinel. But at least here they can't sack the token in the same turn and get a free 4/4. That's very cool. I think Pleasant Kenobi played a few matches with like a Maverick Pioneer type deck. Play a hammer, so trigger. They drew a card. There is 1 card they need to find, and I really hope they don't. Okay. Diversifying the threats. Honestly, here I'm happy to go block here, block here. And then Yeah, happy to go and get Steppe. I was going to say Shadow Spear. Oh, they're going to sack to create a flyer. Okay. I don't think I actually want to save. Do I want this? I do want the Steppe in the deck. No, I don't want the Steppe in the deck. Because what we want to do next turn is have an additional mana. Taking the Steppe out of the deck does change things. So I'm actually happy just to allow this Sentinel. Look, that does it as well, right? A big yeet. We won't fetch, we'll just get Taiga. Play Minsk. They can draw a card. And thankfully this is sacrifice a creature. So it gets around Shroud. So even if they have like swords here, we can sack the Shroud and then just sack the Shrouded creature to Minsk. Oh no. Yeah. Didn't think about that. Nice. Okay. All right, now we got to try to win next turn. We got this. I mean, they can't. They have to have. I was gonna say they have to have a blocker. So close. They can just put everything on the flyer, right? Oh, they didn't. Oh, it loses flying? Oh, no, that's if the hammer's on it. Yes, correct. That's very true. Oh, both at me? We get to keep the Minsk? Then that's a free block. The other Minsk off the top would be very cool. Okay. Then untap. This is definitely a matchup where I want the tower. Tower of the Magistrate in this matchup would be pretty insane. But yeah, it's got to be another fling. There's no way to give this trample. We aren't playing Birds of Paradise. Tough. Tough. We have some good sideboard cards though. We have Path and Force. Probably happy to go down on some amount of Moxens and the Bojuka Bog. Although, yeah, that's fine. Safekeeper I think is still sweet. These are good. Library's still fine at just like finding stuff. It could be Karakas. Honestly, I think it might just be Karakas. A little bit fair for my liking, so pretty happy to mulligan that. Okay, this has potential. Pretty happy just to bottom the plains. That's actually tough. It might just be the crop here. 61, yes. Typically pretty happy with 61 in this list just because of the amount of tutors. Yeah, let's go Taiga into Dryad Arbor. I could have actually gone Savannah. I didn't go Savannah because the plains, but Savannah means we could Swords and Wasteland turn 2. Tough. It seems like they've skipped through their turn. I'll go Plains here and then Dryad Arbor attack. Hey, Cyberpunk Sparrow. Yeah, definitely Brutal Wasteland potential here, especially for probably Saga is the main target. Some lists do run Ink Moth. Pretty happy to Swords in response, just because they can sack it straight away to the Foundry. It also turns off Mox Opal, which is nice. Minsk? Mox. I'm going to hold that for now. I'm not going to Wasteland the Wasteland either. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy just to play out the forest. Keep making land drops. Don't show the Wasteland. Okay, they play out the hammer to turn on the Mox Opal. Oh, but they miss a land drop. That's pretty huge. Huh. Happy to play out the depths because of just stage or crop rotation being I guess stage being the main reason. Tutor. Rest in peace. Okay. That's fine. Sure. We will Thor. It is correct to Thor. You never know. Okay. That's a bit of gas, which is nice. I think just because they're stalled on mana as well, I'm actually happy to Wasteland the Wasteland. It does get exiled, but that's fine. Also good while they're tapped off that instant speed effect. Okay. So here we're just going to hold up Sword, hold up Reclaimer, end step go and get Stage. It is tough knowing they have Wasteland as well, but it means if they play Wasteland, we can just use stage to copy something else. But I can only assume here that we are going to lose our 2020 to probably Swords to Plowshares. Wow, no. I didn't expect that. Wow, they let us untap. Oh, that's a huge misplay because now we just get to protect it. They only have 1 mana up. Ah, opponent. That's a tough one. All right. Let's just run this back, honestly. Yeah. Force of Vigor, obviously very good on the draw, especially if they start off with the Saga in play. This is a pretty fine keep as well. It has a really good hate bear in Collector Ouphe. It has a great endgame in Minsk, and then it has 2 solid creatures. It doesn't have removal, per se, but hopefully that's okay. If one of these was Green Suns, I'd be very happy to be able to go to 3 mana. Yeah, they did say they had keyboard issues, and then they accidentally just, yeah, kind of misclicked with their start last turn. Okay. Collector Ouphe hitting Ancient in here is pretty huge. Wasteland. Oof. Honestly, we could just go for Depths here, and then go Depths into Yav, play Collector Ouphe, and then untap and play Stage, but I kind of like just getting a fetch land here and playing a longer game. I don't want to throw everything into one basket. But I can see my opponent here having float Swords to Plowshares. But at least it, wow, it didn't even float. Okay. That's a tough one. That's not too bad. They have to have something like Dismember for the Ouphe. It'd be hard for them to find a white source naturally for something like Swords to Plowshares. Okay. Here I'm happy to fetch for a Plateau. Play Knight. Attack with Ouphe. Next turn we can play the step and then sacrifice it to turn on Minsk. Could also just turn off the Saga potentially to stop them from getting a needle for Wasteland, Minsk, or Knight. But Ouphe just looking a little bit too good here. I was going to say, drawing the Wasteland would be so good, and we just, yeah. We get to sack and hit. And then play Minsk. It's a really tough one. We do still have a second Sejiri Steppe in case they have like Dismember here. We still have Pro. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really tough one. Nice. Very cool to come back in that. Ouphe just showing its class, especially in that sort of matchup. Just so good at shutting down. That surge was very good. What will it be in the last round? Hammer, Oops or Spells, Sneak and Show, Mono Black. Surely Delver. We got to see a Delver player. Main deck Ouphe has come up a little tonight, which is nice. Obviously that first match, it was pretty great. Would have been nice against Ouphe, I guess. Potentially turning off something like a Chrome Mox or a Lotus Petal. Obviously there's implication with the Moxen, but got a feeling it's going to be Painter. Okay. Blue-black Scam. Could be Scam as well. Alright, been paired. What do we have? We have a pretty sweet hand here. Gonna keep this. We're gonna Green Suns for Elvish Reclaimer turn 1. Mox pitching Sejiri Steppe. Savannah. Could have even gone for like Dryad Arbor, turn 2 Ramunap, but then you don't have too much going on. At least here we have turn 2 Swords hold up Reclaimer. Last seen playing Goblins. Interesting. Oh, Food Chain Goblins. Okay. Okay. Food Chain Goblins is very cool, especially with the name Sticker Goblin, which obviously just creates a bunch of mana early on. Yeah, like getting at least 4 mana straight away is pretty sweet. It is Mountain. Oh, Mountain Pass. I think in that case, I'm happy to play the Ramunap here. And then attack with the... Reclaimer. Try to get Wasteland online, potentially. Yeah. Actually, if you want to check out Goblins, I just played with Goblin Lucky 1 on YouTube, which you can find there with the deck list in the video description. Very nice. Crater Maker, but no mana left. Bog isn't great. It's actually interesting. This only deals 2. I kind of don't want to play a land other than the Bog. Maybe I do. Yeah. And then I'm pretty happy just to pass with mana open. Okay. Now they have to either use the Crater Maker. I guess they can hit the Mox Diamond if they want. Doesn't do a whole lot because we already have the mana from lands coming. But they probably don't want to sack the Wasteland. Because if we get Stage, drop a land, we untap with Stage and 4 mana, which is enough to go and get Dark Depths and activate. So they probably want to hold the Wasteland up here. Yeah, they do. I think we just get a Flagstones in that case. Maybe not. Maybe we do get Stage, because now they just have to hold up Wasteland the whole time. Which kind of takes him off 2 mana anyway. I'm thinking if they want to respond to the Windswept Heath. Let's just get planes. Two mana for Stage, 2 mana for Reclaimer. We get to attack here with the Ramunap. There's even a world where I can play Endurance to speed up the clock and also use Reclaimer. I'm having a good think. The Food Chain version is a little bit tough. Still just a mountain. Ooh. Okay. See how much mana they get. 5 mana. It's pretty good with Wasteland as well. But is it enough? Okay, they get to Matron as well, but still, I don't think that's good enough. because you get to block with a 20/20. Yeah. I wonder what they're trying to find. Because let's say Muxus is blocked, everything else has to be at least 18 damage, which is a lot of creatures to find. I guess you could try to find like another name sticker goblin and then keep going. That might have been the play. Alright, goblins. Path is good, but I'm not too sure what else. I do like Safekeeper just because it can block Lackey. Bog can come out. Potentially the Collector Ouphe. Like it does hit Vile, but that's really it. Yeah. Tough one from them. One land with Mox. This is going to be a mulligan. Okay. Put back a Mox. We get 2 Reclaimers on turn 1. It's pretty cool. If we find a fetch land, we could potentially have 2 3/4s on turn 1. I believe they still do. The list that I played with Eli still played the Vials, just because it's such a strong card. Best case is they play like a Cavern or a Badlands, even a Taiga. We get to hit it. That is true. That is true. But I think that's okay. Okay, they got Vile. There it is. We are down to 0 cards, so there is that. But we have 3 mana. Okay. Happy just to get Savannah. Vile makes it a little bit interesting because of Lackey. This is fine. Oh, goes to 2. Okay. Oh, but they can't kill both here. Wow, they have to try to kill one, but then we have Sejiri Steppe. Wow, that's huge. Oh my gosh. What do they exile? A munitions expert. Nice. Magus is fine, especially if we can remove it, because we can go and get a Dark Depths, put it into play, and then remove it. Can we draw a Swords? A Swords or a Path does it. Minsk is also pretty sweet here. Ah, can you imagine if they played the Magus first as well? If they played the Magus first, then the Elvish Reclaimer couldn't find Sejiri Steppe, or at least it wouldn't come in and get the ETB. Really tough. Maybe they were doing that so he didn't get a basic, but we already have the 2 Mox Diamonds. Interesting. So even if they wanted us to get the Sejiri Steppe to turn off the land through Magus, it just doesn't work. Goblins. Okay. I'm happy to attack with 1 here. Yeah, because if they double block with the Magus, we can just do the same thing. Where we go and get Dark Depths, it comes with no counters on it. And then we go from there. This is a really cool card. This is actually a lot better than I thought it would be coming into the league, and was just kind of the best thing to do. This must be a Goblin Matron. Probably finding Ringleader. Sure. Hordemaster and Pile Driver. Okay. No great attacks for them. Don't attack with the Magus. Do not attack with the Magus. That's all I'll say. They have been lagging a little bit, I assume, so I think they're just stuck in lag. They're not actually thinking about attacking here. But that would be kind of cool. Yes, it's so good as just a sink as well, especially when your like goblins do a fair amount. Even just the 1/1s, like if there is a lord, it's a 2/1. If not, there's other things. All right, we'll sack the step. We'll go and get depths. We'll untap. I think in this case, I'm pretty happy to attack with both Reclaimers. They go down to 7. They can activate this twice, but I think that's fine. They could also play both Pile Driver and Runeven Horde. Still just waiting for a little bit of draw. Still just waiting for a little bit of draw. Force of Vigors are always interesting. but I don't think it's worth it. Potentially Ouphe is, but obviously it runs into Fury as well. Okay. That's interesting. I think with that draw, I'm happy to attack with 1. It is a new edition and it is pretty good. If they want to like, yeah, there's no real good blocks for them, which is great for us. I could also attack with both and then try to hit them with the endurance with flash. I think that's actually the play. I think that's the play. I think the play is to try to get them to attack with the Magus. And the best thing we can do is just attack with both Reclaimers. There's only one card we don't want them to see, and it gets rid of Dark Depths. I think we know what it is. I just don't want to say it. Starts with W, ends with D. Okay. Attack with all. Okay, let's see what the triggers are. So this triggers. This triggers. So if we don't block here... Oh, is it Exacxies? I think it is. If we block the Magus, we take 3, 5, 8, 10, 19. So we can't actually block the Magus. Okay. In that case, I think if we let this go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I think we just go to 1. We block this, then we still get to keep the endurance around. We take 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then we have lethal on the swing back. Nice. Very cool. We get a 4-1, which is really cool. Nice. Naya Depths. Right. Let's chat. Deck was sweet. There wasn't too much to say. Ouphe is Ouphe. I think against any sort of green-white deck, it's going to be quite favored. But yeah, otherwise it was pretty sweet. Would Teeg have been better? No, because obviously against Goblins, Teeg doesn't do anything. Potentially stops Pyrokinesis if they play it, but thankfully not. Mono Black. I think Teeg there is probably better. Sneak, 50-50. Turning off Lotus Petal is really nice, but also turning off Sneak Attack in play is really good. Ouphe, probably rather Teeg in the main deck, let's be fair. Hammer, Collector Ouphe, Goblins, Collector Ouphe. So I think we did make the right choice at the last second to bring in the Collector Ouphe over the Teeg as kind of the main deck hate bear. But yeah, overall the deck felt really good. I think most of those matches as well probably would have been nice to have a prismatic ending over the Collector Ouphe potentially. The Liberator was quite good, so I think that's worth noting. But yeah, always nice to do well. And yeah, try to play it a little bit slower think about my lines, talk about my lines, and go from there. Yeah, Maze is an interesting one. Maze is nice because you do have some built-in synergy with the card in Elvish Reclaimer and Knight. And even giving a creature pseudo-vigilance is obviously quite good as well. But it's tough because when I think of the decks I want Wastelanded against, I think of Scam, which plays Wasteland. I think of Rug for like Murktide, which plays Wasteland. It's pretty bad against some of the Uro decks because, of course, Uro just gets the trigger anyway on attack. Probably a little bit too slow for initiative, but it's interesting. Obviously, the other Night, the Reliquary decks have Wasteland as well. That taxes as Wasteland, so it can be a little bit tough, and especially on the mana as well. It kind of has to take the spot of kind of what Collector Ouphe is. So like that prismatic ending effect. You don't want to count it as a land. You want to count it as a spell. But yeah, I've been hit by it a few times where I've gone to play Maze, seems sweet, and then the opponent just has like the Wastelands or doesn't really care about it too much, or I need to use that mana with something like Yavimaya to actually get things on the board, or it screws up my mulligan decisions a little bit because it isn't an actual land, which I guess means that like, oh, Collector Ouphe was there instead, but yeah. Hopefully Maze comes back. Hopefully there's a good metagame for Maze at some point. But that's going to be me. A huge thank you to you all for coming in. A big thank you to the new followers and subscribers. A big thank you to those who joined my Discord, which you can find here. You can also find my content on YouTube and, of course, Twitter. Yeah, huge thank you for coming and watching. Enjoy your weeks ahead. I'm going to be back on Sunday morning with another stream. And in the meantime, have another donation deck list from That Maverick Joe around Jund. So if you want to catch that, you'll find that on YouTube. But you guys are welcome. A huge thank you for the support. I very much appreciate it. And I will send you over to someone else. I think Gabe was streaming. There might even be another Legacy streamer on by now. Harry's actually playing some Modern, which is cool. You don't often get to see Harry on Twitch, but I would say is probably the best YouTube content by far for MTG. So enjoy that. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.